Hi, everyone. We are here with Adam, and Adam was in my coaching program, Successful Rental Properties, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear about him today. And he's going to tell us all about his rental property, why he decided to join my coaching program, and how that's worked out for him, and just overall his experience. So Adam, why don't you go ahead and get started? I know everything about you already, but I'm going to ask the same questions. You'll be like, you already know the answers, but everyone that's watching does not know. So that's why I'm asking again. So maybe start off and tell everyone, where you live, what you do for work, and what got you thinking that you wanted to start investing in the first place.
So I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I am a solution design consultant for a healthcare company. And the reason that I wanted to get started investing in rental properties is to build generational wealth. So for the future, for my child, for me, for more time with them. I mean, I think that this is probably the best and easiest way to really build that wealth.
What type of research had you done on, real estate investing prior to joining my program?
A lot. I read, I don't know how many books. I attended meetups. I listened to the Bigger Pockets podcast almost every day religiously. There was a lot of research done into investing prior to meeting with you. I think I did it for about 2 years before I joined your coaching program.
So why didn't you, why wasn't that enough? How come you didn't, all those podcasts and meetups, you still didn't get anything? What was the deal with that?
Fear. I think that was my biggest concern, the what if, like, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? And just not having the confidence that, I knew exactly everything that goes into purchasing a rental property. So it just kind of kept me from moving forward. I would get to a certain point and then I'd be like, okay, I'm good.
And so then finally I think you probably saw my, coaching program on Instagram and you're like, give her a call.
Yeah, actually. So, well, you reached out to me and asked me about my situation. And then I was like, yeah. And I'm like, this is what's going on. And then we had our discussion. I was like, oh, I'm like, yeah, it definitely helps having someone who keeps you accountable, for sure.
Yeah. What would you say was the biggest takeaway from the program? It's 5 months or so, and you went through the online course, you did all the homework, all the steps. We met almost every week for a while. What was your biggest, like, this helped me the most? If you could pick, one or two things or whatever, what stands out as the most beneficial in the program?
I think you just keeping me on track with everything, and keeping me accountable and giving me homework, just making sure that I did every single thing that you had told me to do, because if I didn't, I didn't want to come back and be like, oh, well, I didn't do this week. I would have been pretty embarrassed about that. So just making sure I was accounted for. I was being kept accountable.
Kept accountable, yeah. So many P's and T's. So let's hear about your rental. So you're in North Carolina. And so tell me, where you bought and kind of what the process looked like. And if there were any, hiccups or struggles along the way from your beginning research, which I know it is one of the most important parts of the program. It's the toughest part to get through. It's, the market research and choosing a location is where a lot of people get hung up and they, they quit and they come to a coaching program to get help to get through that. Because it's the most important decision. It's, where are you going to buy? How do you know what's the right location, all that. So I know you went through a couple different areas. So maybe kind of talk about that.
Yeah. So originally when we had discussed it, it was, I kind of wanted to stay close to where I live in Raleigh. So I looked at the, what is it? The Greensboro, Winston-Salem.
Triad,
yeah, I couldn't think of the word. So I looked in that area and I had a real estate agent who was great. I mean, she kept on looking for properties and everything, but there was just nothing that was cash flowing at the time. I ended up finding one property and I probably shouldn't have bid on it, but I did, and thankfully I got outbid.
Yes. I
So
I
that
remember
was,
that one. I remember where I was. It was like 9/11. I was in my car. I was looking at it, and what do they call it? What is that earnest money they call it?
due diligence money.
The due diligence.
Yeah,
And
it
I
was.
was like, I think it was like $25,000 or something. No, Adam, no.
And now
But it's up.
that one,
Yeah,
that was a bad choice.
I remember. But
So at least after that, I looked, I think, a little while longer in that area, and I came to you, I think, and I was just like, there's nothing that I can really find out here that's cash flowing. The
yep.
market was overpriced at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So then you had suggested to me to go down to Montgomery, and when I went down there, it was like a whole different story. I mean, the houses were probably half the price of the Triad area,
Mm-hmm.
and they cash flow a lot better.
Yep.
So once I got down there, I mean, I met it well, over the phone. I met a couple of real estate agents, but I found one that I really had liked. And he kind of just, anytime I'd show him something, he'd go out there, he'd give me advice. I mean, he had been a contractor previously, so he kind of knew what to look for with everything. You know, he was the one who ultimately helped me find
Yeah.
rental property, I guess.
So a lot of people are worried, like, oh, I can't buy out of state, out of my area because I want to drive by it. I want to see it. And how do you feel about that now that you're not doing that?
So originally, I was looking, I think, in Birmingham before I talked to you. So I was already looking at a state. I don't Personally, I don't feel like I need to be in state to see the property. As long as you have a good property manager and someone who can pay attention and make sure that things are getting done for the renter that needs to be done, you don't really need to go see the property, in my opinion. Like, I'll go out there eventually. I don't know when it will ever be, but I don't have any plans to go out there anytime soon. But I, I mean, I think that out of state is a great option. I mean, if it cash flows, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, yeah, and it's true. And you're in an area that's still affordable. So you know, like I always say, between $30,000 and $50,000 is what people need to kind of buy a rental. In the middle America, that's going to cash flow. So tell us about, what was your deal like? How many beds and baths, and what'd you buy it for, and all that fun stuff.
So the house I bought was a single family home. It's a 3-2, about 1,100 square feet. It was purchased for $119,900. And the property I got back, I think it was like 2,700 and closing
Seller
costs.
credits. Yeah.
Yeah, seller credit, closing cost. And right now it's cash flowing about 275, 280 after fixed expenses. So it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And so then what are your plans for the future for your next property? Do you want a next property?
Yes, of course, I want the next property. I mean, right now I'm saving up again because I paid the down payment with a HELOC. So I'm working on paying that down and paying that off. And then once I do that, I'm going to reinvest that money into another property. So.
What are your ultimate goals with real estate? Where do you see yourself in 10 years, let's say?
10 years, I hope to have enough properties to be retired. That's what the goal is. So I'm hoping to get maybe 2 next year. We'll see how that goes. Really, I kind of just want to start, getting the ball moving faster.
Do you feel that? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that doing the initial first one is always the scariest thing because it's the unknown.
Yeah.
But now that I have the first one, it's less scary, obviously.
Yeah. Do you feel that going through this process with me, you've learned how to do it, and now you're like, I got this, I can do this now without any help?
Yeah, so I'm gonna still review the videos that you have, because they're always good. I mean, there's a lot of information that you always give, but yeah, I I think having you as a coach had made a huge difference. Sometimes you just need a coach to kind of keep you to give you the sense of confidence in what you're doing. And I think that's why, I mean, it's definitely why I chose to have you as a coach. It definitely helps.
Thanks, Adam. Well, I'm glad that it worked out. I'm glad that I got to help you. I know it was some ups and downs, along the way, but that is part of the process. Nothing is ever super easy, like they say on, late night TV. It's real life. But it's been great. Do you have any advice for future people that might be thinking of joining my coaching program that are watching this right now? What would your advice be to them?
Do it. I mean, if you're holding back because you're scared, do it. I mean, it's worth it. I'd probably still be in the same position I was 2 years ago if I hadn't joined your coaching program. I'd still be, going to meetups maybe and talking about rental properties and doing that stuff and just not actually moving forward in the process. So
I'm just thinking about that. Like those are good words. A lot of times when, people talk, I'm like, yeah, I'm listening, but it's like, I feel like I'm hearing it this time now. Like I do help people,
Yeah, you do.
So I don't always ask for compliments, but the testimonials help. So I really appreciate it, Adam. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me today. And anyone who's watching this is unedited. I don't cut anything out. So you can be rest assured I didn't cut out anything bad. But thank you, Adam. I really appreciate it. I love working with you. And you can always, reach out with any questions and I'll be happy to answer.
I appreciate that, Casey.